Welcome back to Dinar Community Channel. The long-awaited moment that many investors have speculated on for years has finally erupted into reality. The revaluation of the Iraqi dinar has burst onto the global financial stage with a force that few were truly prepared for, sending shockwaves through banking systems, igniting emotional responses across financial communities, and sparking a frenzy among both seasoned investors and newcomers who had only recently stepped into the dinar world. The concept of breaking wealth barriers isn't just a phrase anymore. It has become a lived reality for thousands of people who are finding themselves holding currencies now worth exponentially more than they were just days ago. For years, the idea of the Iraqi dinar revaluation was dismissed as speculation, with critics branding it a fantasy or labeling it as wishful thinking fueled by online chatter. Yet, those who stayed the course, carefully holding onto their dinar with patience and conviction, have now been vindicated. Overnight, what was once seen as a risky gamble has transformed into one of the most lucrative financial events of the century. The revaluation has sparked both celebration and chaos, as exchange centers are overflowing, banks are scrambling to meet demands, and financial systems across the globe are recalibrating to adapt to this unprecedented shift. The immediate impact on everyday people has been staggering. Ordinary families who once struggled paycheck to paycheck are suddenly finding themselves in a position of wealth. Retirees who invested in dinar years ago with the hope of leaving something behind for their children are now discovering that their faith has paid off in ways they couldn't have imagined. Young professionals who cautiously set aside small amounts of dinar are now seeing life-changing sums appear in their accounts. The phrase, wealth transfer, has taken on new meaning, as the revaluation is not just changing numbers on screens but reshaping lives, redefining futures, and dismantling long-held economic barriers. Banks across the United States, Europe, and the Middle East are witnessing an unprecedented surge of activity. In some regions, exchange floors are so packed that appointments are booked out weeks in advance, with long lines forming outside institutions like Wells Fargo, Chase, and HSBC. Security has been heightened to handle the crowds, as individuals rush to secure their new wealth. The energy inside these banks is unlike anything the financial world has seen in decades. A mix of excitement, relief, and at times confusion, as customers attempt to understand the full implications of their sudden financial windfall. Behind the scenes, governments and financial regulators are working feverishly to ensure stability. The sudden appreciation of the Iraqi dinar has massive implications for international trade, debt repayment, and global market balances. For Iraq itself, this moment marks a dramatic turn in its economic history. After years of instability, inflation, and underestimation, the nation now finds its currency standing tall among the global majors. This move is expected to not only strengthen Iraq's financial sovereignty but also attract foreign investment at levels unseen since before the Gulf Wars. Global corporations, eager to tap into Iraq's rich natural resources and emerging markets, are already positioning themselves to capitalize on this revaluation-driven resurgence. For the investor community, the frenzy is palpable. Online forums, chat groups, and financial news outlets are flooded with stories of overnight millionaires, reports of exchange rates climbing higher than initially expected, and speculation about whether additional currencies may soon follow Iraq's lead. The Vietnamese dong, long rumored as another revaluation candidate, is now back in discussions as the possibility of multiple simultaneous or sequential revaluations sends shockwaves through the foreign exchange world. Whether or not other currencies follow suit, the dinar's moment in the spotlight is undeniable, and its impact is reshaping the way investors view currency as an asset class. But with the frenzy comes caution. Financial experts are warning new beneficiaries of the revaluation to tread carefully. Sudden wealth has historically been both a blessing and a curse. Stories abound of lottery winners who squandered fortunes or investors who failed to properly plan for tax obligations, legal considerations, and long-term wealth preservation. The importance of structured financial planning is now being emphasized across the dinar community. Wealth managers, accountants, and attorneys specializing in sudden liquidity events are seeing a surge in demand as new millionaires seek guidance on how to protect, grow, and sustain their newfound prosperity. At the societal level, the Iraqi dinar revaluation is sparking deep discussions about wealth inequality and economic mobility. For decades, financial growth has often seemed locked behind barriers accessible only to the elite, but the RV has torn down those barriers for countless everyday people. Teachers, factory workers, small business owners, veterans, and ordinary citizens who took a chance on the dinar now find themselves in the same wealth bracket as corporate executives and high-level investors. This redistribution of wealth is not only transforming individuals but also communities, as local economies begin to feel the ripple effects of sudden injections of capital. The excitement is contagious, but the chaos is real. Exchange centers are reporting logistical breakdowns, with overwhelmed staff, system crashes, and long delays in processing large transactions. Some banks are setting strict limits on daily exchanges, requiring customers to schedule multiple visits over several weeks. Others are rolling out structured payout programs to prevent liquidity crunches. Central banks across the globe are monitoring these developments closely, ensuring that the flow of money remains stable and does not trigger inflationary shocks or destabilize local economies. For Iraq, this revaluation is more than just a financial adjustment, it is a symbol of renewal and resurgence. Years of economic hardship, political instability, and war had left its currency undervalued and its people frustrated. Now, with the dinar standing strong on the global stage, Iraq is stepping into a new era of legitimacy and respect in the international arena. This move is expected to dramatically increase the country's purchasing power, boost infrastructure development, and open the doors to stronger diplomatic and trade relationships worldwide. The frenzy also carries cultural significance. For many in the Middle East and beyond, the revaluation is seen as a restoration of dignity, a moment where Iraq reclaims its rightful place as an influential economic power. Citizens are celebrating not only the financial gain but the symbolic victory of their currency being recognized at its true value. It is a moment of national pride that extends far beyond economics, touching on issues of sovereignty, resilience, and collective triumph over adversity. However, challenges remain. The sudden influx of wealth into global markets carries risks of money laundering, fraud, and opportunistic scams. Already, reports are emerging of predatory actors targeting new dinar millionaires with fraudulent investment schemes, fake exchange services, and too-good-to-be-true offers. Authorities are urging individuals to exercise caution, use only verified banking institutions, and consult professionals before making major financial moves. The frenzy has created fertile ground for both legitimate opportunities and dangerous pitfalls, and the ability to distinguish between the two will determine the long-term outcomes for many. Technology is playing a critical role in managing the revaluation frenzy. Banks are rapidly upgrading digital infrastructure to handle high transaction volumes, while cybersecurity teams are on high alert to prevent hacking attempts targeting the sudden movement of billions of dollars. Mobile apps and secure portals are being introduced to streamline the exchange process, providing customers with real-time updates, verification systems, and scheduling tools to ease the pressure on physical bank locations. The marriage of financial technology and this historic revaluation highlights the evolving nature of global finance, where digital tools are as essential as brick-and-mortar institutions. Globally, the revaluation has spurred intense debate among economists. Some view it as a long-overdue correction that reflects Iraq's true economic potential, while others worry about the broader implications of such a sudden shift in wealth. Questions about sustainability, inflation, and global balance of trade are dominating discussions in think tanks and policy forums. Critics caution that while the revaluation is currently creating wealth, it must be accompanied by long-term structural reforms to ensure Iraq's economy can sustain its newfound strength without collapsing under the weight of speculation and sudden capital flight. Despite these concerns, the immediate sentiment across much of the dinar community is one of triumph. After years of ridicule and doubt, the believers have been vindicated, and their perseverance has paid off. The stories emerging from exchange centers are nothing short of extraordinary: parents paying off mortgages in full, students clearing lifelong debt burdens, entrepreneurs launching new businesses with freshly exchanged funds, and communities pooling resources to build schools, hospitals, and local infrastructure. The ripple effect of this wealth redistribution is reshaping societies in real time, offering hope where there was once despair. The frenzy is also inspiring a new wave of financial literacy. Many who are experiencing sudden wealth are realizing the importance of understanding money management, investments, and generational wealth planning. Financial education programs are reporting increased interest, with participants eager to learn how to protect and grow their assets responsibly. This surge in awareness could mark a turning point in how wealth is perceived and managed, not just for dinar holders but for society at large. Looking forward, the dinar revaluation is expected to influence not just the individuals who directly benefit but the global financial landscape as a whole. The dramatic surge in currency value will reshape trade agreements, shift investment flows, and potentially alter geopolitical dynamics. Iraq's strengthened currency gives it greater leverage in regional negotiations, while countries that engage in trade with Iraq must now adjust to new realities in pricing and contracts. Oil, one of Iraq's most critical exports, is set to play an even more pivotal role, as the nation's newfound financial strength enhances its influence in OPEC and beyond. The frenzy, in many ways, is only the beginning. As the dust settles, the world will be watching closely to see how this historic revaluation unfolds over time. Will it sustain its momentum, bringing lasting prosperity to Iraq and its currency holders? Or will it encounter turbulence as global markets adapt to the shockwave? Regardless of the outcome, the dinar revaluation has already cemented its place in financial history as one of the most dramatic and impactful currency events of the modern era. For now, the focus remains on the individuals whose lives have been transformed overnight. In living rooms across the world, families are celebrating newfound security. In banks and exchange centers, staff are working tirelessly to manage unprecedented demand. In boardrooms, executives are recalibrating strategies to account for the new financial order. And in Iraq, a nation long underestimated is stepping boldly into a new era, its currency no longer a subject of speculation but a force of economic reality. The barriers of wealth that once seemed impenetrable are crumbling, replaced by opportunities that stretch beyond imagination. The Iraqi dinar revaluation has sparked a frenzy that is rewriting financial destinies, reshaping societies, and reminding the world that sometimes the most unlikely events can become the most transformative. For those who believed, this moment is more than financial, it is historic, symbolic, and deeply personal. And as the world watches, one thing is certain, the frenzy has only just begun. Like and subscribe for more videos.